Celsius, the dew point 31, and the relative humidity 64%. The wind was calm. The pressure was 30.28 inches and rising. Looking around the area, across central Iowa, skies ranged from clear to partly cloudy. It was 41 at Boone, 33.
And hi, this is Gene from Listening in Radio KB9001MWDX, KB9001SWL, and of course my ham radio call sign WN9GWC. Anyhow, I bet you just saw that previous video and you were like, wow, what exactly was I just looking at? Well, here's what you were looking at, and I was looking around on Amazon.com to see if I could find another radio to possibly do a review on, but I needed to do it very, very cheaply, and I found this particular radio right here. And it came in this really nice box. Some of the boxes coming out of China now are pretty cool. This looking, and you have like when you buy this, you have a real good idea what you're buying. When you look on the box or see the picture, it's rather obvious. But anyway, this radio is I guess a throwback to a transistor radio, but this is kind of a new twist on a variation. It has 4 bands. It has AM, FM, and it has AM and shortwave. And it has weather band. So it has AM, FM, shortwave, and weather band. So think about that for a second. This is kind of, I think, one of the first of its kind that I've kind of seen. Of course, there are other bigger radios that have the weather function on it, but this one is a small transistor size radio. So I'll just pick it up here so you can kind of see the size of it in my hand. It's exactly the size as a transistor radio. And the first thing I look at, as usual, here I don't want to knock the box down there. The first thing I always look at, as usual, is the case and whether the case is kind of strong. And the case is okay on this, and I would be cautious, though. You certainly don't want to drop this off the back of a truck. I don't know if it would survive that, and I wouldn't want to find out if it did or it didn't. And, of course, it has the goofy obligatory carry strap on there. Kind of drives me nuts, but I tend to leave those alone. And then for the antenna, it has a run-of-the-mill steel whip antenna, but this particular antenna, just to note, it is kind of in a fixed position. It only goes up or down sideways here. It does not rotate. It is not articulated, so it's either up or down. But you need the wire antenna for your FM reception and your weather band reception, and that is all operated by the simple switch here. You have the weather band shortwave on top and the AM and FM on the bottom, and it's just a flip of the switch, and I had it on weather band so you could hear it on weather band. And when you go to the VHF weather band, you simply have to adjust here on the dial all the way over to 162.550 to hear our weather, and the on-off switch is right here. It's on-off volume. So I'm just and here, let's see, we can make that adjustment.
Veterans Day, partly sunny. Not as cool highs in the mid-50s. Tuesday night, partly.
And then we have the two important parts of the radio. And of course, I never want to see a radio without an earphone jack. And this has the earphone jack, and that brings the radio to the top for me because I really like to have an earphone jack, and I think all radios should have the ability to put an earphone in or headphones and use either one for privacy, because you want privacy when you're using a radio. You never know what the situation might be, and you might not want anybody else to hear it but you, but that's just my opinion. So anyway, the other thing that's important on here is it has, oh look, it's for a USB. So what I believe it has an S-type connector, and this radio is powered from both 2 AA batteries in the battery compartment, and it also has a jack for external power. So let me plug that in for you, and I'll show you how that. At Des
Moines, Iowa.
So I've got it set up on a stand, or actually cell phone stand. It was for my vehicle, but I'm using it in here right now, and it's going to my battery pack over here. This is my power box, and going to a converter, and the power is coming off the converter to run the radio. So, and I'm doing this off of solar power. So I built this as a solar-powered power source, and there's a 12-volt battery on the inside with some connectors and other parts, and it has a control unit on the front of it. So that's a pretty handy thing to have. So if you have one of those portable battery packs that you can roll out, some of them come compact and all folded up now for emergency situations or camping. You can go ahead and use one of those with this. So that's pretty cool. But like I said, I'm using my converter here to hook it up, so I have a regulator on there. I believe this one actually has a fan too. Yes, it has a small fan in back, but that's not going to get overheated. So yeah, anyhow, this is an unbranded radio. It is 4-band, AM, FM, shortwave, and weather band. And I'm going to give this radio 5 stars. And I'll tell you why. I think it was a great idea to incorporate all of those facets into the radio, especially the weather band function with the shortwave. That was a really, really great move, I think. And it has the earphone jack. This is kind of a pretty radio with the silver trim around the window here for the VFO and around the radio itself. So I think it's kind of a neat looking radio, and it's not bad built. It would definitely go okay in a backpack situation. So, okay, enough said on this radio. And again, this is an unbranded radio, and it has a model on it, and it says XJ-10P. This is found on Amazon.com for about $11. So it wasn't a lot of money. So that's a cheap little piece of insurance there. Okay, have a great day.